welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how I produce these kits at home. This piano kit that you've seen videos that I've uploaded about it. A little bit sick today, so you might be hearing me sniveling and just a little bit out of focus, but I need to get this done. So we're gonna start, and before that, here's a little disclaimer. This kit, I've designed it. It's basically open source or open hardware, how you want to call it, but it's free for anyone to reproduce and use all the materials that I've placed online, the presentation, the videos, the build instructions, and all the leaflets that come with this kit. So that means that if you want to use it for your own students, children activities, whatever you're going to do with the information that you see in this video and in the page on the website for the reproduction, you're doing it at your own risk and your own responsibility. You should be aware that this kit is not officially tested by any sort of government facility. I did test it on a few people, 10 people of ages 13 and up to 60, I think. But they all came back with positive results. Everyone managed to make it successfully, and there were no problems with it. Nothing that I would say would pose any sort of hazards or things like that. And that is provided again that you follow the instructions as they are. But again, if whatever you're gonna do with this information, that's really your business. But you're doing everything at your own risk and your own responsibility, and you can find this disclaimer in the description of this video, and again also on the website. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to cover each part of the steps that I take to produce this, and this video is going to discuss producing batches of, let's say, between 10 and 20 of these kits each time. And yeah, that's it. We're going to cover everything. So this is it. If you haven't seen it, then you can watch previous videos about this. There is a playlist dedicated to all those videos. But I think it's very nice. I just made this whole project as a sort of a hobby and things that I like to do. But let's cover some few things in this kit, and then we're going to go just dealing with each component and the processes that I need to do in order to get this whole kit done. One more thing is that I'm doing everything at home. I don't have any workplace or special tools or anything special, just basic handyman tools that everyone would have at home. I think that the most complicated tool that I have, that I use for this kit, is just a cordless drill, and that's about it. So first of all, just to get this out of the way, all the electronic components, all the discrete electronics and the chip, the battery clip, the nuts, the bolts, the nuts, the screws, and the washers, and the little feet here that are stuck at the bottom, with the buzzer and all the electronics, the breadboard itself. Those are just new kit parts that I order online, and you can find them in different prices on eBay. And yeah, that's about it for the electronics. It's just a matter of picking and packing them later. So we're gonna discuss this piece of plexiglass here, these keys, the conductive strip, and the wires, and then all the process that it takes to put this whole thing together. So I'm just gonna set this one on the side, and I'm gonna show you just a ready kit. I'm gonna try to make this video as fast as possible, because it is a lot of editing, and again, I'm not feeling that well today. But let's start with just taking everything out of the package here. If you want to see a more dedicated unboxing with the whole concept of how I present this kit, then you can watch the walkthrough video, and there is an unboxing section, and in there you can see exactly what my vision is. But I'm just going to spread everything here, just like that. This goes here, and we have this one and this. And let's see, seeing it good in the shot, yeah, everything is okay. So as you can see, here are all the parts for this kit, and there is a page that you can download in the resource page online, which will describe exactly how everything is built. So you can see here we have the note bags, and they each come in its own bag, and here then there are packed into other bags, and then everything is put together. But this is basically what everything that the kit will contain. We have loose parts, which is the breadboard, the 9-volt battery clip, the 160 by 120 plexiglass sheet, 4 feet, and this conductive strip right here, and then 30 centimeters of double-sided tape. Those are all the loose parts that come in this kit. And I have it in the shot, yeah, I have it. And then the rest, they're bags, and they're marked here. You can see we have a nut bag, which is this one, and we have a keys bag, which is this one with the 8 keys. And there is a 555 bag, which is this one, bag marked A. And we have the B bag, which has the wires in it, and then all the little bags for the resistors for the little notes. This is one of my prototype kits, so there are no stickers on it. I just labeled everything with a marker, but basically I've printed out these just sticker sheets, and they have all the labels, and just like you saw in the, you can see in the walkthrough video, they're nicely labeled, and not like this with just a marker. That goes about that. Now let's discuss the processes. First we're going to start with this plexiglass sheet. I ordered it pre-cut, 160 by 120. It's 3mm piece of plexiglass sheet, and the only work left on it is basically to drill the holes. Now to drill the holes, since you want to maintain the same holes on each one of these sheets, you don't want to drill each one with its own markings and its own measurements. So for that I have created a template, and there are ways to go about making a template, but I'm going to show you the one that I produced just as an example. Here it is, this is the template, and you can see that the sheet will just fit nicely into the template, and then you can drill each one and it will come out exactly the same as the previous one. This template is made out of a old DVD cover which had a perfect 90-degree corner here, and you can even see here it still has some parts. There was the plugs here, and here's one where was a screw there. And then on the other side I just put the aluminium profile with 2 screws, and that holds everything together. For the top one here, you see there's a whole blob of hot glue that is just to keep everything reinforced. There are 3mm tubes. They're not really tubes. It's just a tube that I took from an old antenna. So you know those antennas that just pull out. One of them was exactly with a drill of with a hole of size 3mm. I just cut a bunch of these, and then I soldered them onto the metal, and then I just put a whole blob of glue around it so that it all stays, just everything is fastened. And that's basically the template. You need to have this template if you're going to produce more than 1 or 2 pieces, because you don't want to start messing which with each kit individually trying to fit parts on it. So you want to be able to produce just all the parts the same, and then it doesn't matter which one you put where, they're all going to fit together. That goes about the template, and that covers this plexiglass sheet. Next, we will have a look at the keys and this conductive strip. Now, again, since I make this as a hobby and I don't really have here any sort of production line going on, it's not mass produced, so I just use a method which you can also find in other previous videos on my channel, which is just reprocessing food canisters, like cookie boxes, coffee cans, beverage cans, everything that is made out of sheet metal. If you want to know the exact way that I go about it, then in the playlist you will find one that is going about model building out of sheet metal, and the first two tutorials will teach you how to process these metal cans into a workable sheet of metal that you can then create other things from. I'm just going to show you an example. So here, for example, is a sheet of metal that was previously a cookie box, and once I get this into this stage, I would cut out, I would put a template, stick a template on it. Again, you can watch this in the dedicated tutorials. And after I have a template on it, then I end up, sorry for that, then I end up with these strips. And the same goes for this longer one. I just didn't have an example ready, but then I end up with these strips. You can still see the template, just paper glued on them. The next step I would take is to make the holes in them, and for that I just use this simple device, which, if you don't know what it is, it's a device, it's a tool for punching holes into leather. I'm not using the smallest size, but the size after it, and then I will just sit and I would punch each one of the holes just like that, and you can see we have a hole. After I punched all the holes, I just remove these extra little bit that comes out here. Sometimes it will just fly on its own, but sometimes it's left hanging. And then I use the scissors. One that has a blade which is longer than the 40 millimeter, so that I can cut each one, just one cut, and then that prevents any bends or things like that, and just a matter of cutting them all. And then to remove this glued on template, you just put them in a bowl of hot water for a minute, and then just take them out, and the template will come off by itself. You need to use water-based glue. Again, you can watch all this in detail in the tutorial that is dedicated for making models out of sheet metal. That covered the metal parts, this conductive strip, and these keys. And there are templates that you can download. The templates are unfortunately in CAD format. I'm gonna see if I can just make them PDF and then place it on the website. Next, what we're dealing with, these ones we dealt with, the double-sided tape, just normal double-sided tape, and here's the roll for it, and I will just cut pieces of 30 centimeter long and roll them nicely, place them in this bag, and it's done. Next, the screws, you need 10 screws for each kit, so I will just place them all with the nuts and the washers in a single bag. That covers that one. It's really all now a matter of picking and then just going about it. Now the wires, here are the wires, and these come in the B bag. I'm going to set this on the side. The wires are probably what you're going to invest most of the work in, because there is no real easy way of stripping wires. You can look into hand automated not semi, but just hand operated automated wire strippers. But if you're gonna go for that method, you need to really make sure that you have a good wire stripper, not the cheap ones. I had many of those cheap ones, and you can just throw them away the moment that they arrive in the mail. It will save you a lot of frustration. You want to go for the higher end ones, the ones that are above $100, and these ones might work, but still, when you want to produce 100 pieces of this, and let's say that every 4 or 5 times that you cut the insulation, the device, the tool loses its mark, and then you need to start recalibrating it on a different wire, and you're wasting wires. So the easiest way that I go about these is just using a Stanley knife like this and a piece of wood like this, and I would simply take the wire and I would place it like that, and then I would just roll it 1 or twice and remove the coating, and that ensures also that you don't damage the wire and nothing happens to it. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, then you will have the exact feeling of how much force you need to put on the wire and how many times. Roll it, and then in 10 minutes you will have 100 pieces ready, instead of fiddling with these hand operated wire strippers. Again, when it comes to mass production, there are machines to do that, but if you're just creating 10-20 pieces at a time, then 10 minutes work and you will have these ready. The wires, they have a longer stripped end and they have a shorter stripped end. The shorter one will go into the breadboard and the longer one will wrap around the washer. The longer end, you don't need to do anything with it, but the shorter end, you need to thin it so that by accident the threads, they don't split and will create shorts with the other contacts on the breadboard. To go about that, again, there is an easy method. I have here an old 50-watt soldering iron. What I would do is I would plug it in, and while it's warming up, I would mount it like on a desk, putting it something like that with a piece of wood here, and then just gluing it here with like a piece of duct tape. I'll show you an example. So just like that. There you go, it's nice. Put some tin on it and some flux on it, and once it's hot, then you just take each wire with a little bit of tin, you just touch it and you make sure that the wires absorb the tin, and then you're done. You want to just ensure that you don't put too much, that you don't have any blobs or any sort of thing that would prevent this from going into the breadboard. So just once you make a few of them, you'll get the feel for that, and you'll know exactly how fast you need to swipe them through. And really just the point is to absorb a little bit of tin that will just glue this all together. That covered the wires part. And again, the wires is something that you're gonna probably invest most of the time in producing these kits, and it's also the most boring task. But yeah, production comes with its price, and we're feeling what it's like to be a Chinese worker in a factory. But we're doing it for ourselves, so that's always nice. One little tip that I have is that I have this thing here which I made. And you see it's just 2 Stanley knives, and they're just fastened here with a screw. And when you place it like that, you can take the wire, and again it takes a little bit of practice and to get a feel for it, but you place the wire between it, you just press it a little bit, and then you can peel it off. Again, it takes a bit of practice, and if you're into the hobby of electronics, then you're supposed to be versed by now by stripping wires. So if you do enough of them, then you'll get the point. That was about the wires. Now, one important thing that I forgot to mention, going a little bit too fast in this video, when it comes to the piece of plexiglass, and especially these parts, you want to have a benchmark. So here I have a benchmark, and it's just again another one of those plexiglass sheets. I glued the feet on it and just placed 4 screws. And after processing, let's say I've made 20 pieces of plexiglass, I will take each one and just place it like that, see that it sinks a little bit, and then you know that all the holes are aligned. This is your benchmark, and you do that for each one of the sheets. And then when you're busy with these metal strips, you want to do the same. You want to just take it and then place it on the benchmark, and then you'll see that each strip fits, so that when you have a whole bunch of them, like you can see here, I can just pick any random one and I will place it on the benchmark, and it will fit perfectly. So I don't need to worry about which parts I put in which kits and if they will fit, and if there will be any problems during the build. So that is a very important thing to do, and that covers that part. I think I covered everything. There is some things that you need to prepare in this A bag. For example, the 555 chip, you need to cut like pieces of foam so that it doesn't receive any static electricity, and prepare those. And inside there is also a 30 centimeter piece of silver coated wire, which is this one, and I just purchased them in reels of 20 meters, and it's not that expensive, but it's again a sort of mechanical process. You just cut pieces of 30 centimeter, roll them nicely, and then when you're done placing all the components in the bag, you would also place the wire, and that takes care of that. About the picking process, some tips that I have to give you is that when it comes to these keys, again we're looking at the page here, we can see each bag which resistor values it needs to hold inside. And the way that I go about it is that I would first again make this in batches. So I would decide, let's say I make 20 kits, so that means I need to make 20 of each one of these bags, each one of these bags as well, but these ones they're sort of repetitive. So I need to make 20 bags of these. What I would do first is I would take 20 bags and I would put a sticker on them with the label. After I'm done with all the bags, I would just place 3 containers, something like these containers, 3 of them, or 2 or 4, or however how many I need to have, and each one will have a resistor value. And then I have made this again this homemade tool, which is, you can see it's made out of just dish sponges. You can use any sponge really. But then what you do is first of all you make all the sets for each one of the notes. So supposedly we're working on C4. C4 is easy, just need 120k resistors. But let's say D4, it needs 1 resistor of each value, and there are 3 of them. So you would first start with the 150k, and you would take a bunch and just stick the 150k right here, and then you would take the 47k and you would stick it next to them, and the rest, the other one as well, 18k, you would do the same, and then you just take each bag, open it, and take the whole series place it inside, and that way you just sort of put this whole thing into process. Let me just see that I covered here everything. The metal, yeah, so that's it. It's really mostly about picking and packing. There is some prefabrication, but I can tell you that in a period of time of 2 hours, just working in front of the TV with a cold beer by my side, I can produce 10 of these kits, and it's really a satisfactionary feeling that I get from it. I have other sort of little tools that I made, like this one, which helps make it easier. Just collect all the bags, the sets of screws and nuts and washers, and then I can just pour them in the bag. And I have this little tool that I made for the wires, just so that I can cut the wires to measure. I will take the wire, wrap it around like that in a single layer, and then just cut here in the middle, and I have a whole bunch of roughly the right length wires ready for stripping and then tinning. One important thing about the wires is that I just use old network cables. What I did was just I placed these ads on second-hand stuff in my local area on Facebook, asking people if they throw out old 10-meter network cables. I will be happy to take them for a symbolic price, and you'll be amazed at how many network cables are being thrown, because I did it once, and I have like a whole bale of cables, which I think I can produce like 1 million kits out of. But this is one cable, only one, that I strip, and I end up with these coils, and I've been using this one for like, I don't know, half a year, and it's still going on, and this is just one cable. So I will take each one of these strands, wrap it around the tool that you just saw, cut it, and just go about it. And again, it's a hobby, so it's something that I enjoy. You shouldn't be doing this if you don't enjoy doing this. If you want to order these kits for any purpose, for educational purpose mainly, then you can contact me, and if we're talking about low quantities, then I don't have any problem making them. When you're talking about larger production scales, then you really need to consider machinery or really cheap labor, and yeah, that's something else. But that's it. I hope that you like this video. It's not really something official that I made, just to share with you this process that I take. You can find all these resources, this page and the other resources, on the reproduction page on the xoftc domain. And if you want to learn more about this kit and just get information about it, then you have a playlist in my channel, and you can watch all the videos that are associated with it. Once again, it's an open source kit. You can reproduce it yourself. You can use all my video tutorials and the instructions that I made. You don't have my permission to change any of the material, so you're basically using it as is. You're not allowed to cut parts out of the videos and or let's say use parts of the instructions and then just put your own parts in them. This is a whole kit, an entire thing that comes with the learning instructions and the build instructions and the play instructions. So that's it. I hope that you liked this video. I hope it taught you a few things about the production methods, especially on a small scale. And on a large scale, it works pretty much the same, only machines and more people and blah blah blah. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.